Mr. Williams, is it now an appropriate time to read the instruction to the jury?
Yes, sir.
Jury, I'm going to read an instruction to you if you will listen carefully. The evidence that you are about to receive concerning other crimes, wrongs, or acts allegedly committed by the defendant will be considered by you for the limited purpose of proving opportunity, and you shall consider it only as it relates to that issue. However, the defendant is not on trial for a crime, wrong, or act that is not included in the information. The parties have stipulated that Kenneth Shaw has one prior felony conviction. State, who would you like to call next?
Dyana Chase.
Call Dyana Chase. Ms. Chase, will you raise your right hand, please?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, ma'am. You can be seated. All right, Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon. Would you state your name for the record?
Dyana Chase.
Now, Agent Chase, as case officer, you watched an additional video separate and apart from the listed victims and charged offenses in this case, correct?
That is correct.
Specifically, did you watch one that involved the arrest of Laura Penn and Kenneth Shaw?
Yes, I did.
And did you collect and review the case file from that particular incident?
Yes.
And was that an arrest that the defendant made of, those people in a traffic stop?
Yes, it was.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Agent Chase, I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 16A, B, C, and D. If you could look at each of those folders and let me know if you recognize what's inside those.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you recognize those to be the case file related to the arrest of Mrs. Laura Penn and Kenneth Shaw by the defendant? Specifically, the evidence and complaint form, the offense and incident report, an evidence detail report, and a disc of a body camera video from that incident.
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I move 16A, B, C, and D into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
No objection.
Be admitted.
Judge, at this time, I would move to publish State's Exhibit 16D, it's a delta, a disc of the body camera video from this incident.
You can publish.
For the record, there are 3 files on this disc. We are publishing the second with a file name of 2018-012950. DSC Wester /Penn_Shaw arrest. Starting it from the beginning.
Ain't nothing reason to be nervous about.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you. Just hang tight, okay? 10. Look, go ahead and hop up for me, ma'am. You're being detained at this time, okay? All right. I guess that's why you wanted to grab your purse.
I'm finna get a cigarette.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna lock these so they don't tighten down on you. I know. Hang tight.
Take that from you, okay? Get the flashlight and the lighter.
2554. I have the signal 30 detained as well.
Pause the video briefly. All right. Agent Chase, are you able to see the video that's in front of you? Should have asked you that before we started. Are you able to see it fine?
Yes,
Okay, and just for record purposes, at the top where it says Axon Body, is there a date above that?
there
Let me
is.
read into the record the date of this.
The date on this video says 2018-06-08.
Okay. And the, what are the items that are depicted on this video that the defendant has found and taken there that are in that front passenger seat?
There are a total of 4 syringes on the seat.
Okay. And you previously described in your earlier testimony that that is a method, using a syringe is a method that people use to inject methamphetamine among other drugs, correct?
That is correct.
Could you please resume the video, Ms. Bittner?
$25.54. Go ahead and show me 1015 2 times.
that wasn't all night.
Make sure that don't blow off, Sergeant.
Oh, yes, sir.
Sir.
Judge, may I confer with Mr. Davis briefly?
Yes.
Judge, for the record, we'll be skipping to about the 10-minute mark on this video, although the entire video will be an exhibit.
All right, the entire video will be an exhibit. It's been admitted into evidence. We're pausing at 6:38, and just announce where you're forwarding to, counsel, when you get there.
10 minutes. Start. Okay, for the record, we'll start it back at 9 minutes and 13 seconds.
Yeah, stop real quick. I just want to instruct the jury. Jury, this video has not been edited. We're just fast forwarding just for convenience sake, so we don't waste a lot of your time. You will have access to the entirety of the video when you deliberate in jury. So if you want to watch the remainder of it, that's fine. We're just doing this to expedite the examination. Go ahead, counsel.
Go ahead, Ms. Baker, please resume the video. Now, Agent Chase, when you reviewed that portion of the video, it specifically showed the defendant searching the driver side car door. How many syringes are collected at that point?
2.
Right, and then he's placing them in an evidence bag like the others, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, Ms. Bittner, could you minimize that? Agent Chase, specifically 16C, so in Charlie, is an evidence detail report from this incident, correct?
Correct.
Does that document the evidence that was seized and actually entered into evidence at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office for this incident?
Yes.
And how many syringes are included that were entered into evidence on this case?
5.
And was that evidence submission made by the defendant, Zachary Wester?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to switch gears here, and I'm done asking you questions about this particular incident. I'd like to ask you.
Stop real quick, Mr. West.
Yes, sir.
Pull that video back up, madam. I just want to see what timestamp we've got on it. Just for the record, we did stop the video at 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Thank you. You can minimize it again.
Now, I'd like to switch gears and ask you some questions related back to the charges at issue in this case, okay? You previously testified about the items that you received from Lieutenant Hodges that you then forwarded on to the chemistry section for drug analysis, correct?
Correct.
And there's previously been testimony from Mr. Sam Catalani about his analysis and what those results were in this case. Are you familiar with this report? Have you seen his report?
I have.
Are you familiar with the lab item numbering and what items those correspond to?
I am.
Okay. Judge, at this time, I would move to republish State's Exhibit 14E as an echo and FDLE laboratory report.
You can publish.
All right. Are you able to see that in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Bittner, could you scroll down to, it would be the second page under the results section? Agent Chase, as case agent, are you familiar, do you know which items, as they're numbered there, specifically on that left-hand column, which items numerically related to the items found in the glove that was located in the front passenger seat of the defendant's patrol car?
Yes.
What numbers, please?
9, 10, 11, and 12.
And are you familiar with which FDLE item numbers were from the suspected marijuana that came from the first aid kit that was searched by Quentin Hollis and entered in this case?
Yes.
What item numbers were those?
20 and 21.
When you were first called as a witness in this case, you were asked about the case files for the listed victims in the case, and they were entered at that time. You have reviewed each one of those arrest reports, the affidavits of complaint and the offense reports, correct?
Correct.
And do each of those relate to an arrest that the defendant, Zachary Wester, made?
Yes, they do.
And they're all reports he authored, correct?
That is correct.
And the affidavits and complaints are sworn to, correct?
They are.
And they all, in their narrative portions, they all record, the defendant records that he found those items of methamphetamine or ultimately non-controlled substances for a few. But he says he found all those things in those cars as reported in those reports, correct?
Yes.
And each one of those occurred in Jackson County, correct?
Yes.
That's all I have, Judge.
Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon now.
Good afternoon.
Agent Chase, you've testified about some of your experience with drug cases, correct?
That is correct.
And how some items of what we may deem as everyday things can turn into paraphernalia with drug cases, correct?
That is correct.
So if you have a sandwich bag and it's empty and there's nothing in it, that's just a sandwich bag, correct?
If, based on what you're saying, it's by itself and it's just a sandwich bag that's empty, that is possibly correct, yes.
Right, that would not be paraphernalia.
No,
But if it had some type of trace of drug material in it, or if it's holding drug material, then it's considered paraphernalia, correct?
that would be a case that it would be considered paraphernalia.
Okay, so just like with a syringe, if you have, it's not illegal to possess a syringe, is it?
No.
Only if it has an illegal drug in it, correct?
An illegal drug or maybe a drug that's not prescribed to you.
Right, if prescribed to somebody else and you're possessing it, then now we're talking about possession of a controlled substance without a prescription.
Well, it could also be if it's in close proximity to an illegal drug as well, is in addition to containing the illegal drug.
But in and of itself, a syringe is not illegal to possess.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Thank you, nothing further.
Mr. Williams?
On the evidence detail report, 16C is in Charlie, the evidence detail report for Mrs. Penn and Mr. Shaw, for the items that were entered into evidence by the defendant. Those also include unused syringes?
Yes, there was an item that listed, I believe it was 4 unused syringes.
That's all, Judge.
Anything else, Mr. Davis?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Chase. Appreciate you being here, ma'am. State, who would you like to call next?
Judge, may I have just a moment to review my notes?
Take your time, sir.
Judge, at this time, the state rests.
Okay. Jury, I held you long yesterday, but you are going to get an early break today. The state has rest. The court has some housekeeping matters it needs to take care of the remainder of the afternoon. Let me talk to you really quick because I'm about to dismiss you for the rest of the afternoon. It is 1 o'clock on May the 13th. Couple of things to be aware of. The court had instructed you that it may need you the week of May the 24th through the 28th. I think it is safe for the court to instruct you at this time that I anticipate that I will not need you that week. I will need you next week, at least for a good portion of the week, but I won't need you the week of the 24th. So just be aware your third week, I believe, is going to be open, and you may begin to prepare accordingly for that week. Again, that's the week of May the 24th through the 28th. I will need our participation next week, I believe. As far as today goes, if you will leave your notebooks in your chair, take your badges with you. Just because the state is done presenting evidence and testimony this time, you are not in deliberations yet. The defense certainly has the right to make argument and present evidence and any rebuttal evidence and testimony they want to, and that's something that they'll be considering the rest of this afternoon, how they want to proceed forward in that direction. But the important part for you is you are not in deliberations yet. Thus, you are not allowed to discuss this case amongst yourselves. You are still not allowed to talk about the case with anybody outside of this building. In fact, you're not allowed to talk with this case about anybody right now. The only evidence and testimony you are to consider, and there's going to be, I would imagine there's going to be more and the state defense is going to have the right to present any more evidence and testimony that they want to present, it's going to be limited to this courtroom. So please, just because I'm letting you out early today, do not let your guard down. We still have media that is participating and covering this trial, and it's imperative that you stay away from any sort of outside influences that could impact the way you review this case. Again, you are limited to the evidence and testimony is set forth in this courtroom, and that is critical that you follow that instruction. That being said, with respect to tomorrow, if you will be back in the jury room at about 8:30, we will get started somewhere between 8:30 and 8:45 tomorrow morning. Mr. Williams, anything else before I let the jury go for the day?
No, Judge.
Mr. Davis?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we will see you tomorrow bright and early at 8:30.